To think that Ford is moving its small car division is a disgrace. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful that our politicians allow them to get away with it.
Moments ago, President Donald Trump decided to go after Ford's CEO, accusing the company of betraying American workers by shifting car production to Mexico. If you thought he would go easy on him, watch then what happens next. Trump, known for his strong stance on keeping manufacturing within the United States, called out Ford's decision as a slap in the face to American labor. His remarks sent shockwaves through the auto industry and reignited debates over corporate responsibility and the future of American manufacturing.
I'm going to put a 100, 200, 2,000% tariff. They're not going to sell one car into the United States.
We're going to make Detroit great again. When foreign leaders and CEOs call me up to complain about our tariffs, my answer will be very simple. Build it in America.
Mercedes-Benz, BMW, all of the different Volkswagen, millions and millions of cars. They don't want anything from us. We have deficits that are crazy. And we're not going to have them anymore. We're going to put tariffs on them.
It's a perfect application for a lot, but not for everybody. Some want gasoline propelled, and we have a lot of gasoline right under there. You know the story with hydrogen. It's great until it blows up, in which case you're not recognizable.
For years, Ford has advertised its commitment to building a brighter, more sustainable future while keeping jobs at home. However, Trump pointed out a stark contradiction. They're moving jobs to Mexico while selling the American dream, he reportedly said afterwards. Trump highlighted Ford's growing reliance on cheaper foreign labor, accusing the automaker of putting profits over patriotism.
Electric cars will kill more than half of U.S. auto jobs and decimate the suppliers. They're being decimated already. Decimate the suppliers, and it's going to decimate your jobs, and it's going to decimate more than anybody else.
But this isn't the first time Trump has criticized Ford. Back in 2017, he slammed the company for its plans to expand Mexican operations. But now, with EV production in the spotlight, Trump claimed that Ford is leveraging the electric vehicle revolution to justify shifting jobs south of the border. And that's when the real nightmare began for Ford. So Trump didn't mince words when discussing how this decision impacts American workers. Every job Ford sends to Mexico is a job taken from an American family, reporters declared. Trump also emphasized the economic ripple effects, citing the potential loss of thousands of U.S. jobs in manufacturing plants, supply chains, and service industries. And that was just the beginning.
Now they want to go all electric and put you all out of business. You know that, right? To the welders, assembly line workers, machine operators, forklift drivers, pipe fitters, tool and die makers, mechanics, electricians, technicians, and journeymen. We love being with you, and we love being with you right in your environment. You built this country, you love this country, and you are the ones that make our country run. You know that, right? Biden's mandate isn't a government regulation. It's a government assassination of your jobs and of your industry. The auto industry is being assassinated. And it makes no difference what you get. I don't care what you get in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 5 weeks. They're going to be closing up, and they're going to be building those cars in China and other places. It's a hit job on Michigan and on Detroit.
Behind the scenes, Trump argued, Ford's move to Mexico is not just about labor costs, but also about bypassing stricter U.S. regulations on manufacturing and emissions. They want the American consumers' money, but they don't want to follow American rules. Trump allegedly declared afterwards, accusing Ford of undermining domestic policies designed to ensure fair wages and sustainable practices. Trump linked Ford's decision to the growing pressures of EV production. He claimed that rising costs for lithium-ion batteries, rare earth metals, and other EV components have pushed automakers to seek cheaper production alternatives abroad. Instead of innovating here at home, they're running to Mexico to cut corners, Trump allegedly said, warning that this trend could lead to a hollowing out of the U.S. auto industry. And that's when Trump got real mad.
It's just a temporary thing.
because you will not have any manufacturing plants. China is going to take over all of your business because of the electric car and because they have the material we don't. What we have is a thing called gasoline. We have gasoline. We have so much gasoline we don't know what to do. They don't have gasoline. So why are we making a product that they dominate? They're going to dominate. You will not have a car industry left, not even a little bit of a car industry.
Trump also took aim at the previous US government for offering subsidies to companies that don't prioritize domestic manufacturing. Why are we giving tax breaks to corporations that take our jobs away? He asked, calling for stricter requirements on federal incentives for EV production.
And right now, as we speak, large factories just started, are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast.
Trump strengthened his argument by sharing conversations from Ford employees and union leaders. The employee reportedly said, "I've worked at Ford for 20 years. Now I'm hearing my work might close because they're moving production to Mexico? It's devastating." Another union representative accused Ford of exploiting loopholes in trade agreements to maximize profits while neglecting American workers' well-being. In his concluding remarks, Trump called for a return to American first manufacturing policies. He proposed new tariffs on vehicles made outside the US and stricter penalties for companies that outsource jobs. If Ford wants to sell cars to Americans, they should make them here, he said.
This whole crazy thing with again, I love electric cars, but you can't do this. You can't do this. They don't go far. Lots of little problems. They're made in China. We don't have the material. But you know we do have? A lot of gasoline is down there. A lot of gasoline.
Trump's fiery critique has already sparked conversations among policymakers, industry insiders, and consumers. As the debate over EV production and corporate responsibility continues, one thing is clear: Trump's challenge to Ford has reignited the battle over the future of American manufacturing.
You're saying Trump 2.0 might allow Chinese EVs to build in the U.S. Explain that.
You never know with Mr. Trump what he might do, but he has said, he's on record, that if the deal makes sense, he may allow Chinese manufacturers to set up factories here in the United States. Why would he do that? Well, bring capital in, some know-how around electrics and batteries, employ people, pay tax revenues to the local cities and states.
And what would that mean for the likes of Ford and GM then?
They're terrified of just how competitive the Chinese EVs are. The Chinese have like a 25 or 30% advantage when it comes to cost. So they could come into the market and start to gobble up market share.
And so why would Trump shoot his own industry in the foot?
He's not always the most logical, and he may be just posing. Maybe he'll throw that out the door. But as a business person, he might say, I don't want imports of Chinese cars, but I'll allow them to bring their capital and their know-how into the heartland of America. But he likes the idea of getting their money to go to work here in the U.S.
Another thing people are frustrated about is that EVs are more expensive than thought and said beforehand. There is a big difference a lot of times between what EV buyers were told and the actual financial burden they face. Hidden fees, surging electricity costs, and expensive battery replacements were just the tip of the iceberg. For many, the dream of affordable green energy turned into a financial nightmare. And just when you thought the situation couldn't get worse, it did.
What should we do when we're told to evacuate ahead of hurricanes? I'm in the state of Florida. The electric grid is overloaded, and we're stuck in a standstill traffic for hours, and tens of thousands of people are pouring onto our freeways.
I guess you'd have to hitchhike with somebody who has an internal combustion engine car. I think that's why a lot of consumers are concerned right now, a little skeptical about whether an EV is the right choice for them. They're not sure whether they'll have convenient access to charging. And in California, we see some rationing and restrictions on the hours when people can charge. And I think that concerns a lot of people. There are a lot of question marks in exactly that area.
Repairs for EVs are turning out to be far more expensive than manufacturers originally let on. Specialized parts, limited service locations, and labor shortages have driven repair bills through the roof. For some unlucky owners, replacing a single battery can cost as much as buying a used car.